What is up, YouTube? Hermit the Crab coming at you with another video to help improve your gaming life. This time it's going to be for Madden 18 and the new Longshot story mode. Now you can actually get both players drafted at the end of the mode if you make all the right choices, and that's what this video is all about. I'm going to show you everything and what to pick. Now first, you need to choose change the play here. And also I'm going to show you right there that you can also pause before you pick these options, and whenever you have the little pop-ups, just in case you don't know what to pick, hit that pause button, come back to the video, and see which option you're supposed to choose. Now after you pick that play, after you pick choose the play, all you have to do here is you have to complete the other sequences. Now later on in the video I'm not going to show every single sequence because it gets kind of repetitive, but it's very simple, very straightforward. Just follow the on-screen instructions of what to do and it will tell you exactly how to finish each one. So for example, the fly right through the new little feature that they have, you'll be able to see right here. This is what I meant by the fly right. I didn't really know what else to call it, but that's how you complete those individual motions. You just have to hit the button sequence and then use the left stick to control the ball. Now, a few minutes down the road in the story, you're going to come to this next point where you can actually have an option to either prank Colt with Devin, or you have the other option, the more responsible options to show the drafts and the scouters later on, of to just have mercy. Now you want to have everything reflecting the best you can for both of these characters throughout these selections.
Not cool, man.
Now you're on your way to the hotel and it's getting late. You have to make sure you make it there on time. So you will actually now be prompted with another option for good old Colt to come up with some other reason to try to delay or prevent you from getting drafted in the long run. So you just have to keep him in check. Once again, once you get outside of this hotel, reject this offer. Once again, I'm showing you can pause it in case you don't know what to pick. Reject this offer so you make it to the hotel on time. You got to get checked in order to get to the combine. Now our next stop is going to be at the regional combine. You're going to start off, and once again Colt's going to try to be immature and mess up your reputation by talking. All you have to do is go ahead and hush him in this next sequence, as you can see right here. And so instead of encourage him, you want to make sure you hush him. Now the next few events, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys because this sets you up for the rest of the mode and gives you an idea of what you're going to have to look for whenever you're making these plays and doing the little sequences of actually playing the game and not listening to the story. So as this progresses, you learn more and more about what you're supposed to do. You're going to see them start their little combine training, getting their assessments, and then you're going to have Devin come up and he's going to have to make some plays. Now they're very, very straightforward, but you want to make sure you don't mess them up, as it's going to hurt your grade for later on. Another thing to keep in mind, which I will remind later on in the video, is that if you ever mess up one of these sequences, as long as it hasn't saved, you can hit start and exit out, and it will bring you right back in to the beginning of this phase. So if you were to exit out right now or after you've completed some of these missions, it will bring you right back to the start and you won't have made the wrong decisions. It will bring you not back to the start of the entire thing, but just this particular combine sequence, and that goes for the rest of the game, even the final Longshot game. So that's something to keep in mind. If you do mess up for whatever reason, you want to back out and come back in to get another shot at the games or the sequences because you didn't time it right. That's how you do it. Alright, and now we're going to get right into the button sequences. And these are the things that you can reset if you need to. I mean, if you mess up on these areas, you can reset it. So right here, you're going to go left with the left analog stick, back with the left analog stick, and then right with the left analog stick. This is just showcasing the movement that you can do. Now you see you hit left trigger there, and you're going to move the target passing icon with the left stick. This is to show off the new target passing mechanic that is in Madden 18. Now what I've found with the target passing, it's a lot easier to get and hit the target is if you're already moving with the left analog stick. So hold left with the left analog, or hold up with the left analog stick right at the same time as you hit that left trigger button. This is going to give you a little bit more movement and a better chance at meeting these later throws. As you can see right here, it's going to be already moving. As soon as I bring it up, I'm ready for it. Also, you see there that it pops off. Another good tip for these sequences later on, because you're going to need them in various sections throughout the Longshot experience. Solos, I've been playing a lot of Madden Ultimate Team. You're going to want to make sure you're hitting all these on the right timing because it affects your grades. One more time, left trigger, make sure you have it all the way pushed up before you do it so you can get there in time and hit that button. After you complete those sequences, we have to make sure we choose the right dialogue choice of encourage right here. Next, you're going to have the option of whether to stay in line or switch positions in order to give Colt a better look to the scouts. Of course, we are trying to get both drafted, so we go ahead and switch. This is going to get you some sass from the coach, but in the end, it's what you need to do to get drafted for both of you guys.
You again. Is there some sort of problem?
Now it is your job to make Colt look good. So in this next scenario, you're going to see in my video that the first time I did this, in the time that I recorded it, I actually chose one of the wrong spots to throw the ball to Colt. I will tell you, I went to the closest one to Colt here, and that is the wrong one to go with. You want to try to get the target passing to the furthest one ahead of him, and that's what I did when I completed it for the full time. But this is just the video that I had recorded, and I wasn't able to capture the other one. The recording got messed up. So after that, once you have completed that sequence, you're going to see an old rival that you saw in the early part of the game that gave you the good old hit stick and caused you, I guess it wasn't the only thing that caused you to quit, but you quit over it. You want to go ahead and continue going the responsible, humble path and go ahead and just ignore his comments, and then you want to mediate between the things that he said to your buddy Colt. There's no reason to get in any fights. You're trying to get scouted, and you're trying to get drafted to the NFL.
Anyways, I play fast, but them scouts always talking trash on my size. You know what I'm saying.
Okay, man, what's your problem?
Let's get out of here, man.
And now, once we've completed that, we want to make sure we're still boosting up Colt's confidence and make sure he's going to stay with us. So we want to go ahead and encourage him and motivate him.
Is he right?
1 + 1 = 3, baby. You know we've always been better together.
Now, the very next section, you're going to interact with the producers of the Longshot show. All of your answers to them should either be question, or negotiate.
We came here today hoping you'd be this good. And you were.
But why me?
Who cares why? Hell.
Now, your next interaction is going to be with Colt, and you want to go ahead and downplay the whole experience.
You're gonna be better than the best.
And he's
man.
also eventually going to reveal to you that he's been invited as well. But what you want to do
I don't know.
is make sure you make all of the right decisions here.
But everyone you
So go ahead and doubt first.
I hope so. Football's no fun in a vacuum. Plus, the Jack Ford is gonna be there. That's awesome.
And then you're actually going to make the choice to invite him along with you before he was even going to tell you.
I got a call last night. Unfortunately, somebody dropped out, and I have to go to that. What do they call that again? Super Regional Combine.
And I chose here for celebrate, but I don't believe either one of those options really mattered.
told you, man. Guess I gotta go.
Who'd have thought, dude?
Now our next stop is going to be at the Longshot Studios. You want to first start out with being polite, sticking to the personality that we have been for the rest of the game.
Oh, you will.
Ready for Devin?
Now after you stick to that,
Ready for
you want to go in to meet the executives, and you want to make sure you hold back.
Devin, hold on. Tell me what you're up to.
Next, it brings over to the challenge mode where you have to face another quarterback. Now, the best way that I've found to do this is to ignore all the other targets and use only the ones that have the 2 ratings. They're very simple to hit, and once you have the timing down, you can hit them and beat him easily. Like, very, very easily, as you will see here. He only scored 11. You have to get past 11 to win, and you'll see us pop up with the achievement right here. Now in your next training sequence, you have to remember the play calls as Ross has said them to you and say them back to him in the correct order. First for play 1, we're going to say strong eye twins.
Nice job.
Then your next option
What's the next portion?
will be flex dagger.
Dagger. Good. Next.
Next we have X dig,
X dig. Next.
Y shallow,
Y shallow. Finally.
and then Z go.
Go. Single back. Ace pair.
For play number 2, as you can see, it shows you on the screen once again, so you can pause one by one and watch it that way, or you can listen.
What's
For the first part is going to be single back ace pair,
Ace pair. Great. Next.
Y stick,
Yep. Keep going.
X slant,
Slant.
Next.
Z go,
Go. Finally.
and finally U flat. And now our final play, you're going to pick Gunge Bunch weak,
What's next?
double trail,
Yep.
X go,
And
Y dig,
Y dig.
lastly,
and Z shallow.
Z shallow.
well done, Devin. Good work.
Now our next stop is going to be in the film room. Right here, right away, you're going to make sure you choose the safety, name all of these players the correct way, and same thing with the formations. Next, he's going to ask you who the hot receiver is, which the answer is going to be X. And then your final question is going to be about the formation you're going to be in. The answer for the formation
In on this play.
is 22 or X.
It's 22.
And then you've completed that sequence. Now there's also a challenge on the field, but you guys have already seen that and understand what to do. When it comes to interacting with your rival, you want to make sure you either ignore him or don't provoke the fight. So do not do anything to insult or provoke him in order to make sure you maintain the same personality and rating throughout the game.
High school football.
Our next important sequence is going to put us in the room with Ross again, where we're going to want to go ahead
Sure.
and say we do know about formations. So choose confirm
What
there.
formation is that offensive?
And this formation that you're going to see is going to be single back, which is the B option.
It's single back.
Of course it is. Got me worried for a minute. Let's move on. Now, where's the safety in this formation?
Then he's going to ask you who's the safety of the formation, and the answer is going to be X.
It's right there.
Very simple.
You're going to need to be able to identify the safety on every play once you step foot on the field. I've seen enough for this morning. Let's meet back up this afternoon on the practice field.
And now for our next sequence, we're going to find ourselves on the field again, having to repeat the plays back to Ross. Very simple. The very first is going to be iPro.
Good.
Our next is going to be bench,
This tells everyone what their responsibilities are. The line.
as he goes through and tells you which individual setting really means. Our next option is going to be bench.
Right. That tells everybody what to do.
Then we want to choose X out.
Right.
That tells that receiver to run an out route.
Z post, and right side receiver runs a post.
Z-post is correct.
What does that mean? Right side receiver runs a post.
And then finally, the last part of the play
Receivers on a player lane
is going to be
versus
Y option.
X is on the left, Z is on the right, and Y lines up somewhere in between.
Okay. Last one. Y option.
Great. You just called your first play. Hopefully it won't be your last.
I wasn't trying to be funny, Wade.
You have to get this stuff down or you have no shot after this show.
Colt will help you
Now next we're going to find that Colt is surprising us and he could be joining us. You want to make sure you go ahead and accept that he joins the show.
Smokes. Be honest to good.
Because obviously you need him to get drafted as well. Now we're going to be in the film room, and you're going to go over some things once again. The option right here is going to be run the ball. That's the very first choice.
Run the ball.
Yeah, simple, right? Second
And
short
then the
after a
next
nice game, they're
option
expecting us to run
that you're
the
going to
ball,
want to pick
pick up the
is
first
then
down,
throw
drive
the ball.
So now that we know that they're expecting us to run, well, what can we do to exploit that?
Throw a pass.
You sure? Yeah, it'd be the perfect time to hit him with a play-action pass.
And now we're going to go into another target passing scenario where you have to make sure you hit the right receiver. The very first one, you want to make sure you throw to Colt as soon as he cuts on the inside for the very first one. And for the second pass, you want to make sure you hit the receiver that isn't Colt. This is very simple to do, like I explained before. Make sure you're holding up on the left stick before you hit left trigger, and you're good to go. Now, for this one, I also chose to throw to Cole. I'm not sure if it matters as long as you
See, that's just another
throw
example
away
of
from the
matchup
double
mismatch.
coverage.
We're exposing the truth by forcing one of the defenders to show us who he's
Now, this is one of the more important interactions as you're showing how you can handle yourself in front of the media.
Keeping him up there alone is not a great idea.
This will reflect on the scouts greatly.
Right here.
What's this game experience
So our very
gonna
first
prove about
question,
Devin Wade? What I mean is, this is basically NFL competition.
you want to make
and
sure you
whoever
stick with
makes
how
it
you
to
have
the
been,
next
be
level
very
will
humble,
be
be very
rewarded.
respectful, and continue on. So you want to praise your team. Then you want to be honest.
I don't know if you're ever ready until you're in it. Okay, Coach Howler knew it was the
Justify.
and become an NFL quarterback. in
And
6
then
weeks.
deny.
Yeah, I wouldn't just say I'm some kind of walking out.
Hello?
And then your next option would be hesitate.
This thing's not even plugged in.
Now you're going to find yourself in the office with the producer. You want to make sure you diffuse
Jack Ford was right
and then
about
ignore his statements and walk out of the room to not hurt your chances.
He said you were a loser. In case you were wondering.
Our next few sequences are going to be flashback sequences, very similar to what you experienced earlier in the long shot mode. This again, once you have completed the other part, you can exit out if you messed this up for whatever reason and join back in and restart without losing any progress. So make sure you hit the right button combinations at the right times and you will succeed very easily. Now next is where you also will learn that you're going to have to learn how to play defense. Very, very overwhelming at first to see, but once you get an idea of what you're supposed to do, just follow the plays as they tell you. If you're blitzing, you blitz. If you're covering, make sure they don't get behind you. Try to stay with the receiver and be ready to get that interception with Y. Just play the best that you can. Make sure the receivers don't get behind you, like I said, and lock them down. Once more, if you cannot go through this, you can restart it and redo it again. Now you find yourself with Ross's fate in your hands. It is up to you whether he's going to get fired or resign. So you want to go ahead and choose to reassign, not resign. I don't know why I said resign. But go ahead and reassign him and then defend Julia. And then you want to also defend Jack.
Jack's my coach.
Next, you're going to go into a whole bunch of individual sequences and everything with Dan Marino. This is where you meet him. You have to make sure you stay humble and don't go over top too much with him. You're going to have a lot of different games between doing the actual mini games, similar to how you saw earlier, where we adjust the height and hit the same targets. This time it's going to be blocks on the airfield with X's. And then you're going to have to play some sequences where you're playing 7-on-7 and so forth for Dan Marino. These are very, very easy to do, and once again, if you fail, you can restart them. Now, once you're back from your trip overseas and you're with Julia, you want to make sure you accept the option to allow Mario Gonzalez to come on to the game, the finale. And then you also, this right here doesn't really matter. You can choose hope or worry. That doesn't seem to affect it any. But then you want to also make sure you choose to accept the interview with Pat Kerwin. That's going to give you great standings and improve your rankings a decent amount.
Devin, I love it.
Now, through this next sequence, you're in an interview. You want to make sure you choose all the best answers. First off, you want to open up with the interviewers. Secondly, you want to make sure you choose lean on the team when prompted by Kerwin. Then I would go ahead and praise McCarthy.
Absolutely. I mean, Captain McCarthy helped me find my love for football.
Once again, we want to stay humble,
Just simply,
sit down, and be honest.
well, they put together quite a cast for this thing. And I'd be lying to you if I didn't admit that I wasn't a little bit nervous.
And lastly, you want to downplay stardom and excuse Skimniak, or Scumniak as I like to call him.
You know, being invited to be on Longshot.
For some reason, I didn't capture that as well. Now, finally, I wasn't able to capture any of the Longshot solo experience towards the end. I don't know what kept happening to my recordings, but it's going to be very similar to the scenarios as you had before. Now, these greatly affect how well you're going to perform throughout the rest of the draft and the rest of the Longshot mode. For the first 3 challenges, they're not too bad to go through, but you want to make sure, like I said, to choose the right options so you get the best rewards, as I'm showing you right here. I get the 9.9 rating. Now, just follow the on-screen instructions, and if you can't, for some reason, complete it, make sure you just exit out and restart it. No worries whatsoever. Now, when it comes to the 4th challenge, that's where it really starts to matter. They're going to tell you to not pass the ball to Colt, and this is where you're going to start deviating from their instructions. If you don't hit Colt in any of these scenarios, there is no chance that he's going to get drafted with you. So you want to make sure when you're in the 4th challenge, make sure you hit him at least a couple times, maybe even to a touchdown. That's what I did. And your ranking will go down at first when it first completes, but then you will see the grade go right back up right afterwards. Now, in the 5th challenge, you're going to be given the option to either go downfield to Colt after you've been, told by Colt, hey, man, you got to hit me. It's my day too. But the best option is to check down to Forsett. If you don't check down to Forsett, Devin Wade will not get drafted. In the 6th challenge, it is very, very straightforward. You have full control over the play calling, and you can do and throw to whoever you want. I chose to throw more and more to Colt just to hopefully increase his ranking. And that's all you have to do. Once you get out of this, this is how I got drafted in the 6th round, both of us. You will go through, and they're gonna end up calling Colt just like they always do if he's gotten drafted. And Cole will accidentally hang up the phone too soon. They'll come back in, and both of you guys will get drafted. So if it looks like it didn't work, don't fret. Give it a second.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe for more content.